What's going on, guys? It's Wednesday night again, and it's 2025. Happy New Year! It's great to be here. I'm glad you're here with me. We haven't been together for a few weeks. Let's rewind a couple of weeks. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and then the next week a Happy New Year. There's been a lot going on for us. I'm sure a lot going on for you, doing, traveling, seeing family, and doing the Christmas thing, and then watching some fireworks for New Year's, and just all sorts of fun stuff. And then on the business side of things, of course, Squadron, we've been slammed. We finally, fingers crossed, I think, got through all of our post office issues. Post office has thankfully started letting us ship to Canada again. A lot of my Canadian friends, we've not been able to ship to you for a few weeks. That's fixed. All the, I say almost, of the shipments, I think, finally got to everybody. Things are good now. Very busy, but good. Unfortunately, one bit of bad news for us today, just a couple of hours ago. Unfortunately, the Chattanooga IPMS show for this weekend has been canceled. So we've been working pretty hard trying to get ready for that. So we get to sit back and take a little bit of a breather. We had some exciting things to show everybody at the show, primarily speaking about our new paint line. We've got that ready to show off. Very excited about it, but that can wait for another day. I think Jason said it in the chat a few minutes ago. I've been reading your guys' chats. Better safe than sorry. And if the guys over at the club can reschedule the show for a better day that works out for everybody, then I'm in. That'll be fine. I'd rather everybody be able to safely and confidently get to the show so we can all have a good time together. So we'll be looking forward to seeing when that is rescheduled. But just know, if you were planning on coming to the Chattanooga show this weekend, it is canceled. Please do not come. We will not be there, and nobody else will either. So, what have you guys been up to for the last couple of weeks? This is nice to be back. Derek's in here. Good to see you tonight, buddy. He says, coming to us from the frozen tundra of western Kansas. We don't have any snow down here today, but considering they canceled our model show that's coming up in a couple of days, supposedly we're supposed to get a little bit of snow. It's funny. My friends up north, north of me, that is, are laughing at us talking about a little bit of snow, and they're walking around in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 feet of snow. Some of my buddies up in Wisconsin, but whatever. It is what it is, and hopefully it doesn't get too cold, but I bet it will. It was pretty cold today, at least for Georgia. Joseph, good to see you tonight. Another edition of Model Dome. I like that. That's good. It's good to see you tonight, my friend. Mark is here tonight working on some attack cargo ships. That's cool. That'll be neat to see. And by the way, speaking of models, I had a lot of you guys send submissions for the next show and tell. And I've got this feeling that a lot of you perhaps thought tonight was our show and tell. Next week is going to be the show and tell, the 15th. I think, or at least thought, that I said that because at the time I announced that 3 weeks ago, I thought I was going to be preparing for the Chattanooga show this evening. And I was planning on getting on here, being quick, hanging out with you guys, but then getting back to finishing up bottling paint and loading the trailer and all that kind of stuff. But don't have to do that, so we can hang out a little while. But nonetheless, I was not planning on getting the show and tell put together. So a lot of good submissions for the show and tell, and I appreciate that. And I hope that any of you that have not sent anything to me, you got one more week than perhaps you thought. So please send those in, and we'll have a really good time next week doing the show and tell and seeing what you guys have worked on. It'll be nice. And with any luck, fingers crossed, we will do what we were planning on doing this weekend at the show and unveiling our paint. With any luck, we'll do that next Wednesday night. So that will be kind of fun. Let's see. Who else do we got in here? Ed, good to see you tonight, my friend. Ice storm, maybe snow out in Texas. Anything can happen, can it? Lawn care novice is here this evening. Good to see you, my friend. Ed, you guys talking about ships that you family members have served on. That's cool. Always fun to talk about that stuff. Me and one of my buddies were talking about something the other night, um, about some of the ships. I was talking about my grandpa's ship, and he was telling me about his uncle's ships and stuff. It's fun to go down those history paths when it has to do with your family. It's very neat. Carlos, Happy New Year to you. And Frank, indeed, it is party time. Let's see. TD is with us tonight. Good to see you, buddy. Wes, Happy New Year to you from a chilly Central Florida. Michael, good to see you, my friend. Looks like you're frozen up there where you are. And you guys are going to have to give me 1 minute. I got to get out of this. Talking about being cold. It is not cold in this room. Give me just a. And I'm back. Much better. All right. Let's see. Randy's with us tonight working on another Osprey book review. That'll be awesome. The ME262. I bet that's a good book. Rex, good to see you tonight, my friend. Let's see. Tom's with us tonight from the Villages of the White Sands. Good to see you tonight. Let's see. Dave, Happy New Year to you, buddy. Santa was good down this way. I hope the same for you. Glenn, good to see you, my friend. Here's Jason talking about being bummed that Chattanooga was canceled. Hey, look at it on the bright side, Jason. It gives you a little extra time to perhaps finish some models that were almost ready for the show. And perhaps by the time the rescheduled date comes around, you can bring them to the finish line. Let's see. David wants to know how the new Squadron catalog is coming along. Buddy, it is coming along, but not near as fast as I wish it would. The last month or so, month and a half, just we were slammed. But no excuses, but if I had an excuse, that's the one. But I just started working back on that here in the last week or two. But then, of course, the paint, there's always something, right? Trying to get the paint launch, that's taken up some time, but we'll make it. We'll get the thing done, and it's looking really good. I think you guys are going to like it. We just got to get it finished up. Let's see, Lee from Buffalo, New York. Good to see you tonight. Danny, got your Dora yesterday. Good deal, buddy. Well, it is a very, very cool subject. I like it, and I hope you enjoy building the kit for sure. And Kimberly, good to see you tonight. And yeah, we had a great past couple of weeks, or few weeks, I guess. Got to visit with family and friends, and had a great time. Hope you did as well. Hey, Bob. Hope you're keeping warm. We're trying to, as long as we stay inside, I guess. Chris, good to see you tonight. Tom, the fine sprue cutters. So the red handled sprue cutters. Let me grab them. The red handle ones, these are actually not our fine ones. These are what we call the rough cut ones. They will certainly cut the clear parts out, but don't try to get very close because it'll snap them, and so it'll work if you pull it way back and try to cut it off, way back, but then deal with the sprue that's actually connected to the part later. You can do that. The little black ones, these guys will help you get really, really close, and they work pretty good. One of the things that I wanted to mention that I have kind of started doing with these cutters now that I've been using them a lot. Let me grab a sprue real quick. This is one of those things that perhaps you guys have been doing this forever, or perhaps it's a dumb idea and you've been there, tried it, and soon I will learn that there are better ways to do things. But something I've been doing recently as I'm going through is these cutters, they are single-sided cutters, like a guillotine type, meaning only one side of them is actually sharp. The other side is a flat, like a blunt side, and it slices through to a flat side as opposed to two sharp edges pinching the part. It creates a much cleaner cut and all that kind of stuff. But what I've been doing lately that helps it even more is, you can see how I can do this. You can definitely take the cutters and just let's see. I know it's hard to see. Snap it. Okay, cool. That cut's really nice. It's a nice clean cut. But what I've been doing lately, and let me show you what I mean about the rough cutters. Cut out here. Now I've got the part that I want to work with. Switch back over to the fine cutters and do what I need to do. So I get the, which side is the sharp side? All right, so this is my sharp side up top. So I put the flat side on the bottom, and then I don't cut. I put it to it, and I start cutting and turning at the same time, and it kind of, imagine cutting a steak. You don't take your steak knife and go straight down. You kind of put it on there and you pull back a little bit. And when I started putting this on here and spinning it at the same time that I was pulling down, I started getting even cleaner cuts. So I don't know, it's just one of those little things I started doing that helped me. Maybe it's something for you to try. But there you go. That's my 2 cents on cutting for the evening. Let's see. Hey, Monty, good to see you tonight. And Jay Banks Haley is here. Good to see you, my friend. And good evening to you too, Matt. Kimberly, they did. So apparently we have a winter storm coming in Friday here in Chattanooga, and they claim we're going to have a lot of snow, and the snow is not actually the problem. Snow is not, it's fun. You can grab some snow and throw it at each other and all that. The problem is it's not really going to be that terribly cold. So the issue is the snow is going to melt. And then when the sun goes down, all of that water is going to freeze and the roads are going to be frozen. And Chattanooga itself will possibly be just fine. The problem is all of the roads coming into Chattanooga are not going to be fine. Like, let's say you're coming from Nashville on I-24, coming over Mont Eagle. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to be coming down Mont Eagle if it's frozen. And same thing south of here, if you're down in the mountains. I know, like my dad, for example, he was worried he wasn't going to be able to make it because the road coming over the mountain from LJ to Chattanooga, that'll probably be frozen. So if I had to guess, the club most likely had a lot of people they knew that, perhaps said, "Hey, I'm not gonna come. I hate to miss it." Maybe they had some vendors back out, saying maybe they weren't going to be able to get there. Whatever the situation may be, but they had to just make the decision to reschedule it. So I hate it. I'm going to miss it, but rescheduling is better than canceling. So hopefully they'll be able to pick a date that works for everybody. And hey, perhaps some people that weren't going to get to come at all this weekend will get to come to the reschedule. So we will see what happens, and we'll hope for the best, right? Arnell, good to see you tonight. Let's see. Danny, show me the paint. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Well, here you go. This is what it's going to look like. These do not have labels yet. We're kind of keeping the branding of it secret for the moment. We were planning on showing it off in its full branded labels and all that kind of stuff this weekend. I will show you one little sneak peek. This is the back side of the label. So there you go. That's me in my paint making pants. So We've been bottling away and labeling, and this will be the backside. These are the little 15 milliliter bottles, which basically that means a half-ounce bottle, just like Vallejo and AK and MIG, all these other guys use. You know the bottle, you've seen it, and there it is. When you open it, get the little eyedropper on it. And the fun thing about these paints is, we'll just use this. If I can open it. Oh, no, we don't have to use that. We can use this. The cool thing about these paints is when you open the bottle, and let's just say this is your airbrush, you don't need to mix thinners. You don't need to mix flow improvers. You don't need to mix whatever voodoo magic you need to make it run into the airbrush. You just shake it up good. You've got some little stainless balls in there, BBs or whatever. Shake it up really good. Open the top and pour it in. And it is 100% ready to go. Shoot out of your airbrush, straight out of the bottle. When you get done, wash your airbrush out with water. And you're good. If you need a little bit more than just water, isopropyl alcohol works, and of course we've got our own thinner that works even better than that. But for just general airbrushing, color changing, run some water through it, change to your next color. When you get ready to put your airbrush up for a few days or whatever, clean it out with the alcohol and or our thinner, and you're good to go. This paint is. It's like all the things that, I don't know about you, but at least for me, all the things that I have to do on my modeling bench to prepare to paint, whether it's thin the paint down or add the flowing improvers and make the tip dry stuff, all that, all these things that I spend so much time on the bench fooling around with paint before I can actually paint is worked into this bottle for you. I mean, if we're going to make paint, well, why not make it ready to work? And in addition to all that, of course, the color matching and the color selection. This bottle here, this is 65, the anti-fouling red. Why do I want to go out and buy 2 or 3 different shades of colors and mix, 30% of this and 20% of that and 50% of this, and poof, you got, 65 A-hole red. I don't want to do that. I just want to open this bottle, squirt it in my airbrush, and paint my hole, And then when I'm going to do a modern ship instead of a World War II ship, U.S., I'm going to grab this other bottle. It's modern hole red. So all of our colors are going to be things that you use. One of the slogans that we've been throwing around is that we've had several of them, but something to the effect of the paints, created by modelers. So, why not? But it's going to be really cool. I like it. And if none of you guys like it, it's just more paint for me to use because I love it. And I've been having a good time testing it out, trying out all these colors, and I'm looking forward to showing it to you guys. So we will see how it goes. And like I said earlier, with any luck, we will make the official announcement and put it up on the website and start selling it and all that fun stuff next Wednesday night. Oh, man. Jason, the highs didn't get out of the 20s today. Yeah, that was about like it was down here. That's about like it was. Hey, Jeff, good to see you tonight. Good. Yeah, you hadn't sent me your show and tell stuff. Send it in. Like I said at the beginning of the show, everybody, a lot of you sent me show and tell stuff this week thinking tonight was the show and tell, because generally it is the first Wednesday of the month. Last week, of course, was the first, so we didn't have a show. So it's natural to think tonight was show and tell. But because I thought that I was going to be preparing for the Chattanooga show tonight, I wanted to do it next week instead so I can put a little bit more focus on it. So we've already got a lot of good submissions for the show and tell. But now, like Jeff, he's going to be able to send us some stuff, and I hope you guys can too. So John, good to see you tonight, my friend. And yes, don't forget to order from Squadron. We've got a lot of good stuff coming now that the Christmas rush, as we will call it, is over. We've had some things start finally showing up. The all the if logistics were not a problem enough, try dealing with all of it during the fourth quarter, specifically in December. Everybody trying to get everything to you in time for Christmas and everything, and not just Christmas, but end of the year. You got to make your year end look better. So all the manufacturers trying to get stuff to us, and it just clogs down the shipping channels. But things are finally breaking loose. We got a big shipment in today. Some of you might have gotten your shipment notices. 200 scale Olympic from Trumpeter. They are here, and that box art looks really fantastic. Again, because I didn't realize I wasn't going to be planning for the show tonight. I didn't bring any of the stuff with me, so I'll have that with me next week. You got to see it. It's huge and it looks cool. But that's here. The 35th scale Hueys from Trumpeter, they're finally here. We've been waiting on those. We should have had them a while back, but they're finally here. The 48 scale B24Ds from Hobby Boss, those same situation. We should have had them, but we do have them now. So looking forward to all that kind of stuff. I still got to go through it all. We're kind of tripping over boxes right now in the warehouse. So, and not just that. So here you go. You guys will like this. The IPMS club in Chattanooga, they are going to be meeting at Squadron starting this month. And they have a once a month club meeting. And this month, the club meeting is going to be on the 20th, Monday the 20th, I believe at 7 o'clock, if I remember correctly. I should probably know this considering I'm hosting it, but I think it's at 7 o'clock, and we're doing it at Squadron up in our retail area. And that date will also mark the first date that evening, not during the day, but that time will mark the opening of our retail store here in Chattanooga. We've been talking about having a retail store at our warehouse location up in the front for a while, and that's finally going to happen now. And the first club meeting there, that's going to kind of mark the. And I'm going to let the club guys come be the first ones to check out the store, and then after that, we'll open it up. We're planning. You can always go. We may change this like 15 times in the next 10 days, but if you go over to our website, let me pull this up real quick. If you go over to the website up here at the top where it says how things work, this is kind of all of our how we do things, FAQ, whatever it is. But so we've got information in here on the retail store. And right now we are saying that we're going to be open Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. But once we get started, this page is going to have a big box here if there were ever a reason we weren't going to be open. Like, for example, if the Chattanooga show were happening this week, we wouldn't be open Friday because we're going to be down at the show. Nationals, the week of Nationals, probably not going to be open because we're probably going to be all hands on deck over at the show, that kind of stuff. But you can always check it out, and we'll probably make this a little bit more easy to find once we actually open. But this will be all the information about that. But yeah, January 20th is going to be the first time that we let anybody in the retail store. It'll be fun. I noticed, where is it at? Yeah, Danny Haney here talking about the new hot sauce flavor. This is, again, that has nothing to do with modeling other than I love hot sauce and I love good artwork. And Peter made some awesome artwork. And I got a guy that made us some awesome, well, it's not a guy, it's a company, made us some awesome hot sauces. And we had planned to have a 6-pack. And we got 5 of them, but this one had some delays. Well, it's finally here. And Danny, I'm glad you like it. This green sauce jalapeno. And if any of you guys wanted to try some of our hot sauce, just because I won't be quiet about it. This particular one is not very hot. Just my dad, for example, my dad loves hot sauce, but he doesn't do the super, super hot stuff like me. So the P51, this is kind of like I don't know, kind of like Texas Pete maybe. And then this green sauce, it's even perhaps a little bit milder than that, but it's got a really good flavor. And if you're like me and you want the absolute hottest melt your face off stuff, you go for the B29 made out of the Carolina Reaper. But anyway, all 6 of our hot sauces, they are finally available. And I have a good time with them. They make good dip, they make good wing sauce, and I got to eat while I'm building models. I don't know about you. So I guess in a weird way of thinking, they do have something to do with models. Another interesting thing I wanted to show you is this. So back in 1982, I guess it would have been Jerry Campbell commissioned a company to make belt buckles for them. Well, we have it's actually a company that I know anyway, and the guy told me, he says, "Hey, you know I've got these old molds to make these metal belt buckles that Squadron used to make back in the 80s." I said, "Really?" So he pulled it out, and I said, "Look, you got to send me, a few dozen of those." So he did, and here they are. So if you are a belt buckle guy, I guess, or a nostalgic Squadron fan like myself, there you go. You can get an old school Squadron belt buckle. My wife thinks I'm crazy, but I wear it. It's fun for me. And I asked the guys, I said, "Do you have any other molds of any other things that Squadron did back in the day?" And they think they have the mold for the original Squadron Eagle lapel pin. So they're looking for that for me. And he says they think they have a few other things. So who knows? It's fun as we keep going along. I keep finding more and more stuff that Squadron's been around for so long. They had their hands in so many different things throughout the years. It's really cool to me just to see. It's like every so often I just find, oh wow, look what they did. That's got a Squadron name on it. So it's cool, and we're trying to get the retail store kind of decorated. You guys have sent me so much, and I really appreciate it. All the just memorabilia and old Squadron from T-shirts and flyers and magazines and just all sorts of stuff. And we're gonna try our best to set up the retail store. I don't know, maybe like Cracker Barrel. Just have the stuff around. We've been calling it the Squadron Museum. It's going to be the retail store. My office is in there, so it's going to be kind of like a multi-purpose room. But I really want it to look cool, and we're going to do what we can. So I'm looking forward to you guys coming and checking it out. Brian's with us tonight. Happy New Year to you too, my friend. I hope your recovery goes very, very good and that you're able to be with us many, many, many more times and get back to your workbench soon too, so we can see what kind of models you got going on lately. Let's see. Jason working on a B24, the old Pro Modeler kit. That'll be nice. Jason, if you want to tell us yet, which plane are you doing? Which version or which specific plane are you going to do out of that kit? I'd love to know. Jeremiah doing another Hellcat. That'll be nice. Yeah, get it finished up and send it over. I actually have something that I'm trying to get done for show and tell, which I guess I'm glad that it's next week because this might actually finish up. It's a very, very little kit, but I'm kind of having a lot of fun with it because it's super small and it's a very quick build, and it's actually my very first sailing ship. I've never done a sailing ship. Never got into doing wood models. I like them, but I'm just scared to death that it won't turn out very good. But check out what Neverland sent me. They sent me some early copies, and they finally showed up. These actually showed up a week or so ago, but I just hadn't had a chance to tell you guys yet because we've been off. But they look super cool. As you may know by now, they have two versions. It's the same exact kit, but you can tell one has photo etch and a couple little 3D printed parts, and one does not. Of course, they're calling it deluxe and not deluxe. Both of them have the interior of the kit, but the difference is the photo etch. You got, where's that here? It's got like the rat lines and all that kind of stuff with it. But this kit, the detail is really nice, and I've got several copies of these. I'm gonna be sending one out to Model Warships. Is gonna do a review on this. I've got a little video review coming, kind of like the Gerald R. Ford video I did, and then I'm working through an actual build video. I got my one of my extra little cameras over here hanging above the workbench, and I got one of these that I'm building, and then I'll do it in fast motion so you can see it goes together really quick. I mean, this is all there is to it, just a few sprues, and then in the deluxe kit you get a couple of these little 3D printed parts, and they're kind of I'm not a sailing ship guy, so please forgive me for not knowing the correct terms for these things, but they're little like tables and stuff that go on the inside of the ship. And then, of course, the deluxe version, this is your photo etch fret. You got a couple little frets there. The fret back here, the silver fret, the stainless fret, that is a base, a stand. And if I can get my dang camera to focus, I guess it's not going to focus. Oh, there we go. It's got HMS Victory on the stand, so that's kind of cool. But the photo etch is a nice touch for the deluxe kit. You get all the rat lines and whatever else all this other stuff is. Like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know anything about sailing ships, but I'm having fun building this one, and I'm looking forward to learning more about these old ships and how they work. One of my good buddies, a lot of you guys know him, Richard Harden. He with Tom's Model Works, every year at Nationals, we always end up being in the judging room Friday night and getting to hang out after the vendor room closes, and it's always a fun time to catch up. And inevitably, there's always a sailing ship or two or three or more, whatever. But there's always at least one, and he loves sailing ships. So every year, I'm trying to learn. I'm like, hey, Richard, all right, what is this? What is that? And he's trying to teach me. And Richard, if you happen to see this, one of these days, I'm going to remember everything you've been teaching me about these old things. So. But anyway, so the Neverland kit, they're on their way to us, but as you guys probably know, this kit's made in China, and China likes to take the entire flipping month of January off for their Chinese New Year's. But it is what it is. We're used to it, but that causes even more shipping delays, as you can imagine. So we will get it when we get it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get them in February, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. Let's see. Rob, good to see you tonight, buddy. Happy New Year to you as well. And Wayne, good to see you tonight. No worries about being late, my friend. It's good to see you. Bernard, we did, and I hope that you did as well. Bernard, we have bought collections in the past, but that is not really our primary business. There's a lot of companies out there that do that, or at least I think there are. But like I said, we've done it before, but it's just not really our main focus. And right now, I just don't have the time or the capacity to get into any of that. So I appreciate you asking. Hey, Kimberly, how sensitive are they? Um, Not really sure how to answer that. Maybe through the chat. If you want to give me a call sometime and let me know what your issues are, I can try to diagnose it. Perhaps, I mean, mine. I've been using this was actually the first pair off of the production line. When we did our run, I said, "Hey, send me the first one up front so I can be using it." And I hadn't had any issues with it, so I don't know. Let me know what you're experiencing though, because I probably need to know if we've got an issue. So let me know. Hey, Ed. Yeah, Chattanooga IPMS show this weekend did get canceled, just in case anybody is just tuning in. And it's certainly possible that it won't be again until next year, but they say they're going to work on finding a rescheduled date. They just got to work that out with the venue, the convention center downtown. So hopefully they'll get a date picked out and let us know something soon. Hey, Ken, good to see you tonight, buddy. And Danny, yeah, or Danny, Danny Haney. Yeah, the World War II ship colors, that's kind of the main, well, it's not the main thing, it's just the first ones that we've been working on. So that's what I've got all my little sample bottles up here. Um, but the ship colors, the plane colors, and the tank colors. The only thing, and I'll just go ahead and tell you this: the only thing that we will not have right out of the gate are any like metal colors, chrome colors, aluminum, that kind of stuff. We're getting all the non-metallic colors done, and then we'll focus on that. We don't have any spray paints. We don't have any paints that are like real thick for using with a brush. What we have right now, or at least what we will have to start with, is going to be an entire series of, haze gray, whole red, all of your olive drabs, your Israeli sand colors, just all. There's going to be a ton of colors. We actually have 182 colors right out of the gate, and we have a total of 220 colors planned that we'll work up to here over the next few weeks. And that 220 will kind of be our base set, if you will. And then on top of those 220, in addition to that, we've got things like we've got thinner, of course. We've got a gloss coat. We've got like a semi-gloss and a flat coat, of course. We've got, I think, 4 different primers. We've got a gray primer and a white primer. We've got a pink primer, and we've got it's like a tan primer. I think we called it skin primer. So we got all sorts of stuff and some washes. We've got like, black wash and like a dark gray wash. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 different wash colors. So that's the 220 colors is going to be our base set. Then we'll have what we're calling the utility series. That's your primers and your washes and your clear coats. We'll have that kind of stuff right out of the gate as well. And then we will see how it goes. And if it is well received, we will move on to other things, perhaps the metal colors, perhaps, whatever comes up as something that is needed. So, John, all right, the 200 scale Fletcher kits. Some of you may have seen the little short video I put up, and I've had a lot of people ask this. So the one that we are currently taking pre-orders for on our website, which is this one. This is the USS Fletcher itself. This is an early kit. Now, as you saw perhaps in the video I showed, they announced 3 different Fletcher kits. The Fletcher, the Sullivans, and the Stevens, the one that had the catapult on it. And these are 3 different model kits that will be 3 different boxes, 3 different releases, this Fletcher being the first of 3. It was perhaps a little confusing in my video, only because everything was shown together, because when Trumpeter sent the sample, everything was all in one box. To be honest with you, I don't even know. I have no instructions, no nothing. So all these sprues, I don't know which ones go in which. I mean, you can see here, I've got 3 different decks, and they're 3 totally different decks. You're not getting 3 decks inside the kit. You're getting 1 deck for whichever one of those three versions that you purchase, whether it be the Fletcher, the Sullivans, or the Stevens. So it will be three totally complete, totally different products. It's not a 3-in-1 or anything like that. So I'm after we get through this paint launch and all this kind of stuff, I intend to get back into that box and show you a little bit more. Trumpeter has a full sample of it with the box and photo etch and all that stuff that will be headed my way soon, and then we'll be able to do a true in the box review for the Fletcher version, and you'll be able to see everything that's included. Like, for example, you don't see any photo etch in this video that I made because they didn't have those parts made. This was basically a test shot from the plastic kit molds. There are no photo etch. There's no decals. There's no instructions. There's no whatever else they're going to include in there. But we'll get to see all that fun stuff as soon as he sends me the full box. So that is that little video that I showed there, and you can see it on our website. If you go to the Fletcher page on the website, it's also here on the YouTube channel, but you can see it there on the Fletcher page. That is basically the extent of what I know at the moment, as far as what's going to be in the box. And as soon as they tell me more, I will certainly let you guys know, because that's going to be a very, very popular kit, one that I'm looking forward to, and I hope that you are as well. Michael got him a nail polish bottle shaker. Man, those things are great. Little thing you put the bottle on, and it sits there and shakes the heck out of it for as long as you want. So they are certainly a handy thing to have. Bring back the old putty. We would love to, and don't think that we are not trying. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, so to speak, and tell you something that may or may not happen, but just believe me when I say we are trying, and we have not stopped yet. And just in the last 2 weeks, something broke through, and we're closer now than we've been in the last 3 years since we started. So it is definitely something that we want to do, and with any luck, it'll happen at some point. But we just want to make sure it's right. We want it to be the original formula, not any of the later stuff that they did that was not the same. So forgive us for how long it's taking, but when and if it happens, it'll be the right stuff. So that's all I'll say for that for now. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, turning 59 Friday. Well, happy birthday, buddy. Hope you get you a new model. That's every birthday, Christmas, all that. Hey, what do you want? Just a model. That's all we need, right? Let's see, Glenn, going back to this snowstorm down here. Yeah, Mont Eagle. I would not want to be a tractor trailer coming down Mont Eagle in the ice. Ooh. Let's see, Bob. Are the paints matched, or will be matched to a actual camo color? So all will be revealed soon, but the guy that's kind of head up of our I guess our paint department, we've never had that before, but I guess we do now. The guy that that's kind of head up of that, he is very knowledgeable, and he has a seamless, it seems to me, and like an endless amount of research. And so the other day we were working on the interior colors for aircraft, like interior green, zinc chromate yellow, those colors. And I said, wow, these really look good. The green, when I was working on that, this really looks good. How'd you get this? And he says, well, this color came straight out of the boxcar, the B-29. I was like, oh. He says, yeah, we went in there, we matched it exact. So I'm like, well, You can't argue with that. So I have learned over the last couple of months, or a few months, however long it's been, I have learned more about paint colors and what colors ships or tanks or planes or whatever it is, what color they were painted, and not just what color they were painted, why they were painted that color, and it's been really fun. One of the most fun and interesting things for me about my entire um, I don't know, business life, I guess you can say, in this hobby industry is learning the history of behind all this stuff. Because I mean, when I started this, I'll turn 40 this year. Well, when I started this, I was 20, and when I was 20, I didn't know all this stuff. I mean, history class in high school, I could have probably cared less at the time, but when we got started doing all this model stuff, and remember, for me getting into the hobby, it was model railroad. That's what I did with my dad, and I only did that because he liked it, he enjoyed it, and I kind of fell in love with painting the buildings and doing the scenery and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't get into this hobby from a historical background. I mean, I wasn't a fan of all this stuff prior to it, like many of you were. But as soon as we got into it and we started stocking these models, like I fell in love with these things. Like, wow, this is really cool. And I would go and I'd read the history of, okay, what was what was this ship, or what did this tank do, or what did that plane do? And it was really cool to me. So every time I found through the years, every time I found a model kit that I thought was interesting, I was like, it was purely a, hey, that looks cool, I'm going to build one, and now I'm going to go learn all about it. And that's kind of how I learned uh, everything that I'm interested in now. Just kind of falling in love with what it looked like and then learning about it. Like the B-24 is probably my favorite aircraft from World War II. I just thought it looked really cool. Well, now I know a lot about it because I learned and got to learn as I build the models and stuff. Anyway, learning all the history of it, never even considered why things were painted certain ways, what colors they were, how these colors came to be, and man, I've learned a heck of a lot in the last little while, and it's really cool. So this has not only been a business decision, but it's for on a personal level. It's been a lot of fun for me on a kind of a learning thing. So I don't know. I trust my buddy that's helping us, that's kind of heading all this up. All the colors he shows me, um, and he has been doing this as I mentioned before. It's not like we just went out to the barn and mixed some paint together and say, "Hey, we got a new paint line." He's actually been doing this for 7 years, so this is tried and true stuff. The colors are tried and true. We are adding to the colors, but it's going to be nice. I really believe in the product, and I hope you guys will too. And if not, hey, that's fine. There are so many paint companies on the market. I mean, if one paint company was the perfect paint company, the rest wouldn't exist. But it's kind of like fast food restaurants. There's there's different flavors for everybody. But for you, I hope that you will at least try this stuff. Give it a shot. If you don't like it, fine. You spent a couple bucks, you tried it, you know what we got. But you might fall in love with it like I have. And then we got you hooked. And just so you know, uh, we are we are going to continue to sell Tamiya paint. We are going to continue to sell Vallejo paint. We are going to continue to sell ICM paint. And then we are going to sell our paint. And that's it. The rest of the paint that we have had, do have, whatever the case may be, those we're going to phase them out. The price point on this, let me look to make sure I don't quote this wrong. This is all new for me. So let me make sure I tell you. I'll go ahead and tell you what the price is going to be on this stuff. All right. The MSRP retail price on a bottle of our paint is going to be $3.59. We are going to sell this on squadron.com for $3.25. So $3.25 gets you a bottle of our paint, half an ounce, 100% ready to go in your airbrush. And then in addition to that, we are going to have paint sets. And we're still working out the details on that, but let's just say that I think you're going to like the way we do our paint sets. We're going to try to take all of the guesswork out of your decision on what colors you need for a specific kit. And going back to this Fletcher, for example, this is the kind of the test dummy, if you will, for our paint set formula. And we're working on this. You're going to be able to buy a USS Fletcher paint set. And you might say, yeah, well, Fletchers were done in different paint measures and paint schemes and camos and all that. I know. That's why we're going to have a lot of different Fletcher paint sets. And we're going to do the same thing with B-17s, with B-24s, with P-51s, with different classes of ships, battleships, earlies and lates. And we've got all sorts of different ways we're going to do these sets. And the way we're going to do it, I think, is going to work, at least for us. And we're going to be able to help you know what paints you need. You know, when you open up a model kit, a trumpeter kit, or whatever it is, and you flip to the back and you look at the paint guide, and a lot of times it'll say, you know, you need these 5 colors or these 6 colors, and running down this way, it tells you the color, and we'll just use common colors for conversation's sake. You know, black, white, red, green, blue. And then running this way, it says, okay, to me, if you're using Tamiya, you can use XF1 for this, XF2 for this. Okay, Tamiya doesn't have this color, so they put a little X. Tamiya doesn't have this color, so you put a little X. And then XF50 for this color. And then you move to the next line. Gunsy paints. You know, they have this one, this one, this one, and this one, but not this one. Then you move to Vallejo. Well, Vallejo probably has all of them, but they don't have this color exactly, so you need to get these 2 colors and do 25% of this and 75% of that. And then you keep moving on down the line, and it's sometimes you luck out and one paint manufacturer, sometimes it's your paint manufacturer of choice, has all the colors you need. But more often than not, you gotta work to get the colors that you need, at least the colors you need according to the manufacturer. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of you guys, you know the colors you need, and that's great. But you got to think from our perspective. We do the best we can to try to invite new modelers into the model world. Believe it or not, people still get into this hobby from never having a background in building models. And some of these guys and gals have no idea what paint they need. They don't know that they need whole red. They just know that the hull is red, so they bought some red. And then they ask me, wow, this is really, really bright. And I'm like, yeah, it looks like a fire truck, doesn't it? No, this is what you need. So our goal and our hope, what we would like to do in an attempt to help the modeler, whether they're a absolute beginner, or even if you're not a beginner, sometimes you build, you get outside of your comfort zone. I'm getting outside of my comfort zone. I've never done this. I don't know what these colors are, so I'm learning again. And what we would like to do is in the back of that trumpeter, instruction guide, you got all these colors. Well, I want our paint. When you say, okay, well, here we go, we're going to use the Squadron paint. Boom, every single color you need is a part number. You need to buy this one, and this one, and poof, you got it. And that's what our paint set's going to be. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to have our paint listed in the instruction guides and trumpeter kits, even though that would be cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to make our own little paint guide, because imagine all the kits that are on the market, even if Trumpeter, for whatever reason, did want to put our paint in their instruction guide. There's 2,000 Trumpeter kits that have been released before that they're not going to go back and add us to it. So the new, let's see, the new, oh, it's not up yet. We have a new website coming that's outside of the Squadron website that is going to be specifically a website for our paint. And we're going to do our instructions, if you will, for our paint sets on that website. So you'll be able to go and you'll be able to see, hey, I'm building this Fletcher kit. Well, here's the colors you need. Here's your paint guide. Here's what it should look like. And this that I'm talking about, as you can imagine, is going to take us longer than next Wednesday when we're going to announce the paint. It's going to be a work in progress. But these are the things that we would like to do for you guys to make it easier for you. Because for me, the most frustrating thing when I'm sitting at my model table is pretty much anything that's not building or painting my model. If I've got to fight with my paint to get it to go through the airbrush, that's not fun. I'm trying to finish up so I can go do something else, go upstairs. But this fixed that problem for me. One of the other problems I have is, wow, what color do I need to paint this? That's what we want to do. We want to let our team do that research for you guys so it's easier for you to sit down, put a model together, and get it painted and enjoy this hobby. Now, don't get me wrong. Research and learning, all that is part of the hobby, and I love it. But sometimes when you're building a model, you just want to know that I need this whole red instead of this whole red. And that's kind of what we want to help with. So we will see how it goes. We will see how it goes. And Bob, I know that I probably didn't specifically answer your specific question, but hopefully I gave you a little bit of, what's in our minds at the moment about what we've got going on. All right, let's see. Yeah, Danny, I talked to him the other day about that B29 hot sauce. It's good, buddy. I'm glad you like it. Randy, the hats, yes, I am. So we had a girl over in LJ that used to make them for us when we were over there, and she did a great job, but we're not in LJ anymore. So we've got to get it going again. I've got set up with a new supplier, and it's going to be good. We're just, like I said, last couple of months been slammed. So hats and T-shirts and all that fun stuff that I enjoy making it. And you can take it or leave it. We'll offer it. If you don't want it, that's fine. But a lot of you guys have asked for hats and shirts and the fun stuff. So we'll have that coming very soon. Just trying to get it all to the finish line, so to speak. All right, Jason, going back to his B24. All right, well, that's cool. I look forward to seeing that one when you get finished, buddy. I know it's going to look great. Tom, that's not a bad idea, buddy. That would be that'd be kind of cool, actually. Yeah, gold, silver, and bronze. Yeah, it's a nice size. Let's see. Well, there we go. Yeah, this is how big they are. Kind of get an idea. I don't know. I think it's. Well, I put it on the website. It's like 2 inches by 3 inches or something. But it's that'd be a very cool kind of a little trophy. Nice idea. And James, good deal, buddy. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, we were talking about Easy Line here on the show and rigging ships with it. So it looks like you tried it and looks like you like it. So good deal. It's got a really good name because the only way to describe it is that it's easy to use. So Easy Line. Let's see. Glenn, yeah, the lapel pins, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping to hear back from them soon. We were thinking about doing some anyway. I've got some little designs. I'd like to have a few different ones just because I'm a sucker for those. I love getting them at the model shows and whatnot. But the fact that they have the mold for the original lapel pin. That's cool in my book. That hits my nostalgic interests, if you will. So hopefully they'll find those molds, and hopefully they're good. So let's see, Joseph, what's the latest about the Memphis Belle figure? Well, since you asked, I'll just show it to you. So Roberto, that sculpted this thing, he is in Brazil, or just north of Brazil. Where is he at? Rio de Janeiro, up north of Rio de Janeiro, up in the mountains. So, talking about shipping delays, this was a casualty of shipping delays as well. But it finally showed up, and this is the original sculpt. We have not molded it yet and made castings. That'll come later. So this is the original clay that he sculpts with. But this is her. So Memphis Belle, let's see. I guess it would be this way or this way. I guess whichever side of the plane you're looking at. But that'll be hers. 1/6 scale. Let's see. I can't drop this. If I drop it, it is going to explode into a million little pieces of clay. And that would be bad. Let's see. Yeah, there's her with the head on. So you can get an idea of what that would look like. So I think he did a really good job. The interesting thing about Memphis Belle is obviously we don't know what her front side looks like, and her face and whatnot. So I think Roberto did a fine job of coming up with potentially what Memphis Belle would look like. So it's neat. It's part of our nose art series, if you will, and it'll be coming down the line soon, along with everything else. But I appreciate you asking. Let's see. What else do we got going on tonight, guys? Going back to the paint. Yeah, and I will, if you're already bored with my paint talking, I'll just go ahead and apologize in advance. I'm very excited about it, and we will be talking a lot about it over the next couple of weeks. But, Brian, are they similar to Vallejo or MIG Atom? And I don't mean this in a snarky way, but it's neither. This is something totally different. And I just want you to try it and see what you think. And you know, we'll go from there. We'll have it up on the website next week. I'm trying to work out some little way to incentivize you guys to at least try a bottle, and I'll have more information on that next Wednesday night. But I really want everybody to get a bottle in their hand and just try it. Like I said, if you don't like it, no harm. You tried. And if you're like me, you might fall in love with it. Let's see. Brett, this Victory model is 1/700 scale. So it's pretty tiny, but it's 700 scale ship models. That's kind of one of the top 2 scales for ships, and it's scaled perfectly. But it's really small. I mean, you can kind of see it's about the length of your finger. But it's a nice kit. They did a really good job on it, and we're taking pre-orders for them now, and we are expecting them, I hope, sometime in February. And Bill, hey man, it was good to talk to you earlier today. And yeah, Bill had called and said he wasn't going to make it to the show because of the possibility of frozen roads. And hey, we don't have to worry about it now, Bill. So hopefully they get it rescheduled, and you'll be able to make it to the next one, or well, not the next one, to the one. Miami Dolphins is here tonight. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, talking about learning the history of the stuff. You know, talking about doing a model kit solely on how it looks to start with, and then learning the history. The best example for that for me was the Fort Drum, the concrete battleship out in Manila Bay. The first time I ever saw that, I fell in love with it. I'm like, that is the coolest thing. And of course, I read up all about it, learned it, and it's just a a very unique, interesting thing that they did. And I loved that one so much that we we produced a 350 scale model kit of it. So learning about this stuff is neat, especially the really weird and wacky stuff. That's why I like a lot of the our Hannibal flying saucer kit and the Montana battleship and all these other what ifs or hypothetical things. The hypothetical stuff is really popular now in the 35th scale stuff. The World of Tanks video game has a lot to do with that, and all this stuff. Some of it's purely fictional, and that's fine. I mean, I like Star Wars, right? So I like fiction stuff too, but the could have been or would have been or should have been real stuff is kind of fascinating to me too, because okay, maybe they didn't build it or maybe it didn't work, but they were at least thinking about it. They were trying to figure out a way to make some of this stuff work, and it's just neat, and it's fun to read about it. And some of that stuff is like, what were those guys thinking? That was never going to work, but you know they talked about it, they thought about it, and you can build a model of it if you want to. Some of that stuff, the model kit would probably fly better than the than the real prototypes. Oh man. Hey Matt, yeah, talking about the Sovereign Hobbies paint. Yeah, that it's really good stuff, and they got some really good colors. But talk a lot of the stuff that we do, and I've mentioned this before, talking about that Fort Drum, our Blue Ridge Models brand. Uh, a lot of the stuff that we do as a proprietary product, and I say a lot, perhaps all of it is something that we, either myself or one of our other squadron guys, wanted that either was not available on the market, perhaps not available anymore, or in the case of paint, was not available in the way we wanted it to be available. And some of that stuff that's out there is really nice, but I wanted I wanted kind of like the best of both worlds. And my buddy that came up with all this, he wanted the best of both worlds. And this is an acrylic paint. Like literally, you can clean this up with water. And if water, alcohol works as well. But so I wanted the ease of cleanup. I didn't want it to smell. I'm like, I'm down here in the basement. I don't need a lot of smell. And this stuff, I mean, it's hardly anything. You can now, obviously, you want to wear a respirator. Obviously, you want a spray booth. Obvious, those things are obvious, right? But the other night, believe it or not, by the way, I was spraying my Dora, and I was just down here. I wasn't going to be spraying, but for a few minutes, so I was like, all right, I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to worry with pulling out my spray booth and all that stuff. And I did it. Probably not a good idea. I'm not saying you should do that, but I did it. And when I got done, I realized it doesn't even smell in here. So that was cool. So I wanted the ease of cleanup. I wanted, is least, I don't want, the families upstairs playing or eating or doing whatever they're doing. I don't need my wife yelling down here, "Are you painting again?" I didn't need any of that stuff. So that's cool. And then one of the other things, and this is neat. Most acrylic paints, well, I don't want to say most. There's so many on the market. I don't know what you're using, but some of the acrylic paints that I have used, you got to be so careful once you get it painted. And this is very splotchy. This is my test subject for learning this paint and all that. And uh, a lot of the paints I've used, the acrylic paints, once you get it, it's so flipping fragile. I'll be trying to put photo etch rails on, and the photo etch scratches my paint off. This stuff, you about can't get it off. I mean, I'm sitting here scraping it with my thumb. Yeah, you scar it up a little bit, but the paint is there. So I told my buddy, I said, man, when this stuff is on, it's on. And he says, yeah, that's why, it sprays like an acrylic and it dries like an enamel. I'm like, that's kind of right. I mean, you can scrape it and scratch it. And I mean, yeah, I can scratch the heck out of it and get it off, but just for general working, putting rails on, putting details on, this stuff is great. So it's just one of those things that this product was made for us and my buddy. It was actually made for him. But once I started using, I was like, man, we got to have that. So we worked it out, and now we do. So we'll just got to wait till you guys try it out. Arnell, will we expand from aircraft, armor, and ships to other things? So this is an interesting question. So my buddy that came up with all this, and he's been doing it for 7 years and all that, he's a military guy. So the colors that he has offered, or that he has produced, come up with, has primarily been that aircraft, armor, ships. But my interest is pretty big. I'm into that stuff, but I also love my sci-fi stuff. And just you saw Memphis Belle, so I'm into that kind of stuff too. Figures and sci-fi stuff. I mentioned Star Wars, monsters. We push the X Plus brand pretty big, and they're doing all the Universal monsters, Dracula and Frankenstein. I like that kind of stuff. So we are absolutely expanding into sci-fi and figures. And actually, and you'll see this next week, we actually have a 6-color set specifically for skin tones. And it's going to be very cool. I've got another buddy of mine, that you have seen some of his work on our show and tells in the past, that has said, "Hey, I'll test that stuff out." And actually, I said, "Look, I consider you to be one of the best figure painters. What colors? If I were going to do 6 skin colors, tell me what I do." And he says, "Oh, well, I do this and I do that and I mix these and I have the perfect colors that work for me." And I said, "Well, if it works for you, that's what I want." So he, made up his little mixes or whatever he did, and he sprayed them and he sent them to me. And I looked at him and he called me and says, "That's what you need to do." I said, "Hey, I've seen your work. I trust you." So we made those 6 colors, and that's going to be our first 6 skin colors in our figure series. And then on the sci-fi side, we're still working on it. These may or may not be ready to go next Wednesday. They may fall in that after the first 182. But we've got well, I'll just call it what it is, a USS Enterprise Star Trek spaceship set. And you've got all the colors you need to do that kind of stuff. And then we'll get into doing other types of starships, freighters and just all these kind of things that type of modeler would want. I mean, I like that kind of stuff. So I need paint for that kind of stuff. I love this paint. This is what I'm going to be pushing now. So if there's a color I need, you guys are probably going to see it in the line. And then we've got what we're calling the Monster Series. And one of the colors in the Monster Series, the name of the color is Frankengrind. You can imagine what color that is and what it's for. We've got another color in the Monster line called Vampire's Dinner. You can probably guess that that's a really dark, bloody red. So yes, we've got some interesting things lined up for figures, for sci-fi, for monsters, that kind of stuff. Automotive paints, that will not fall into what we're calling our base set, those 220 colors that we'll have to start with. And the only reason is is because we want to save that type of thing for when we get into doing our metal colors and our metallic colors. Because a lot of the automotive guys, you're going to want the really shiny, the metallic, the candy colors, all that kind of stuff. So that's one of those things that it's not coming yet, but that could be one of the future things that we get into. So what do they say? Never say never. But it's not on the. You won't see any of that stuff for cars. You won't see any of that next week when we make our announcement. Christopher, anybody else having problems with post office delivering their order? Buddy, I'm assuming that because you're asking that you still haven't got your package, and I apologize, man. I hate to hear that. If you want to drop me an email, and let me dig into it and see. Most everybody, at least from us, has received their package that they ordered in December, and in a few cases at the end of November. But there have been a few customers this week that have emailed me or called me. So, and we're figuring it out. We're working it out. I want to make it right one way or the other with you. So please shoot me an email with your order number and let me do a little bit of investigating and see what I can come up with you. I want to make it right with you one way or the other, even though it's all on the post office. I'll see what I can do for you. Tom, will the paint pull off when you mask it? I would rather just show you than tell you, and I don't know if I have. I'll have to show you later, so I'll just tell you, no, it won't. And here's the other thing that's fun about this paint, talking about masking and decals. So, and let me explain why before you just write it off. All of our paints are like a satin to semi-gloss finish. They're not flat. The reason behind that is, let me ask you, what is your workflow? When you build your model, do you paint it? And then when you're going to get ready to put the decal on it, what do? We've had this conversation many times on this show, this in the past year. We talked about sandwiching the decals with gloss coat and all this. So traditionally, at least for me, I paint, and then where my decals go, I put, semi-gloss coat down or gloss or whatever I've got, and then I put my decal on, and then I do the clear coat, right? Why go to all that extra step? We just do the paint in the gloss coat or the semi-gloss, excuse me. So once I paint, I put my decal straight on the paint, and then I clear coat. I completely eliminate the need, excuse me, I can't speak, completely eliminate the need for that gloss coat spray down. I mean, I was like, wow, why do that? So that is why the paints are going to be semi-gloss right out of the bottle. It's just, again, helping the process of painting. So, yeah, forgive me. I'm getting a text here from one of you guys that's watching me asking questions via text. All right. All right, buddy. We'll answer that question later. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's keep moving down the list here. Yeah, Carlos. So this is more good questions. And my intention is, instead of just sitting here and telling everybody what they want to hear, what we're hoping to do next Wednesday when we do our official announcement is I'm working on a kind of a little commercial, if you will. And it's basic. You're going to see the paint coming out of the bottle into my airbrush onto the model. We'll mask it. We'll sand on it. We'll do all the stuff that you need to do to finish a model, and you can see it in action. And then again, for a couple of bucks, you can try for yourself and perhaps fall in love with it. Matt, yes. So believe it or not, I actually considered doing a 700 scale back at iceberg carrier kit a long time ago, but never pulled it off. Let's see. So Brian wants to know if we're going to do FS colors as well. So yes, we will have FS colors. That the most common reason people want these FS colors is for your modern aircraft, because you got to remember that the World War II colors, which is going to be primarily what our color lineup is, that existed before FS colors was a thing. Some of those colors may be the same, but then they became an FS color or whatever. And you'll just have to wait and see what the lineup is. We've got, let me see, I've got my picture here somewhere. Give me a second to pull something up, and I will tell you exactly how many FS colors we have coming out of the gate. Where is it at? Oh, looking at the wrong color. All right, FS. It looks like about 14 or 15 FS colors that we've got right out of the gate. No, I take that back. 15. Yeah, there are 15 FS colors. And when you see this color chart next week, you'll notice 5 other colors after the 15th that we are labeling as future colors. So we've got other things planned there, but we got 15 FS colors right out of the gate. So perhaps you'll find exactly what you need. But we've got all this stuff as far as, and I'm being very careful what I say, because I don't want to let any cats out of any bags until next Wednesday. But all the FS colors, the RAL colors, all these colors that are perfectly matched to what they're supposed to be. A lot of the older, the World War II colors before the FS, all that actually came from an original 1929 Munsell Book of Color, which those are. I'm learning all this stuff, right? So the Munsell book was redone later, and a lot of the colors that you see from different places, sometimes they say, yeah, we're using those books. Well, yeah, but you're using the one that was like, I forget when it was redone, 60s or 70s, maybe even the 80s. I don't remember, but it wasn't 1929. Well, the color chip book or the color chart book that he used, it was an actual 1929. He had to go to wherever it was. It's not something you can just go check out at your local library. But like I said, next Wednesday, we'll tell you everything and show you exactly what we have. And like I keep saying, perhaps you'll fall in love with the paint and enjoy using it as much as I have here recently. All right. John is currently building an Independence from Dragon, which that is cool. That is an excellent kit, and Dragon is actually re-releasing that kit here very soon. So looking forward to seeing that. And you're building it as the Baton. That's awesome. Your father served on it. Very good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that build when you get done, John. Make sure to send pictures to me. Hey, Mark, good to see you tonight, buddy. Catching us right here at the tail end. It's good to see you, though. Well, Matt, I'm glad you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to you guys trying it. And like I said, just get you a bottle, try it out. You may not like it, and at least you'll know. And perhaps you will like it, and you'll you'll be able to enjoy modeling just a little bit better, not having to fight as much with your paint. At least that was my experience. I just, uh, I've got a lot of good paint, and I've got a lot of good ways to do things. I love my Tamiya paints, but thinning them down, dealing with cleaning them up. I'm sure that I will still use some Tamiya from time to time. It's very nice stuff. But like I said before, if there's a color that I need that we don't have, you can bet that we're gonna have it because I love this stuff, and I hope you guys do too. Um, I guess that's gonna be it for tonight, guys. We're right at an hour and a half. I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. Um, it's been a busy last couple of weeks. Ken, that Dragon, Pennsylvania, they are finally on the way, but we're probably not going to see them till like March. I don't think, unless we've got so many different shipments coming. It might be in the February shipment, but I don't think it is. But if you want to drop me an email at the info at Squadron, when I'm at my desk tomorrow, I'll look and see if I can get you a more exact answer. But lots of stuff coming in. Next Wednesday, I'll bring some of this stuff that's coming in with me and show it to you. Some really neat stuff. And remember, show and tell next Wednesday. So if you have not sent me a show and tell image or images for January, please do send your pictures to info@squadron.com and put in the subject line show and tell, so I know where to put it. And just so you guys know, when you send me your show and tell submissions, sometimes I don't respond to you, and that's because when you send the show and tell submissions in, it says show and tell. I take that email and I put it in a special folder. That way, the week of the show, I can go in that folder and grab all the pictures, and I don't lose it. Sometimes when I respond, my email software closes it, and I may miss it. So sometimes I respond to you, but if you ever send me a show and tell submission and I don't respond, just know that I got it, and we'll get it in the show. And that I don't generally respond to those emails. That way they stay new and they don't get buried in my email. So, but send those to me. I would love to include you in our show and tell next week. And we'll do that. We'll do the paint announcement, and we'll have a lot of fun again. I always look forward to this and looking forward to more exciting things, related to Squadron and model building in general for 2020, 25, 29. Still thinking about that B29 hot sauce, I guess. But anyway, Happy New Year's, guys, and I will see you next Wednesday. Take it easy.